It's your favorite rock star, Mr. Rarity. Today we're gonna uncover who am I? We're gonna uncover who. Testing 1, 2, 3. So. The Congolese way. Got started in it. Yo, my peoples. In this video, we're gonna discover who your favorite rock star is, aka Mr. Rarity. Stay tuned. You don't wanna miss this one. My most memorable shows. I've got a few. My first one, I'd say, is Congo 58. That was in 2018. That's only because of the amount of pressure and the amount of stress it took to organize that show. But by the end of the night, it was a good night. Everyone had a good time. But yeah, that was one of my most memorable shows, only because of how much effort we actually put in as a team and how much time we took to rehearse and put everything together. I'd say my second most memorable show is my mom's birthday, my mom's 50th. That was in 2018 as well. And that's only because that was the first time my mom got to see the band perform. My mom's always been a fan of Rarity. Like when Rarity first started, we had a meeting at my house. My mom cooked the food for everyone and everyone had a good time. She made my mikate. If you know about my mom's mikate, you know. Yeah, so she's all supported the dream. So seeing her have a good time at her birthday, me being able to bring the lads out and perform for her, yeah, that was an amazing experience. What got me into music? That's a good one. First of all, I'm born into a family of music. First of all, stop moving. Sit down, because you're making noise. First of all, I was born into a family of musicians. My granddad is a musician. My dad is a singer. My mom's a singer. My dad's a songwriter as well. But this was back in Congo. My older brother, he's a producer. He's a musician as well. My little brother, he's a singer, rapper / songwriter as well. Me, I'm a musician. So I was always in and around music from such a young age. Growing up every Sunday, my dad used to play music in the house and we used to just dance around the house. And that's what influenced me. So because my dad and mom were part of the choir, I used to go choir rehearsals. I'll be sitting there. Even though I was a kid, I'll be sitting there. I'm just soaking in the music. I didn't know why I was there. But obviously looking back, it's what shaped my career. The church that my mom goes to, the music there has such a strong influence as well. And that's why I got to experience playing the drums. I think when you're like young Congolese, your parents are not going to pay for your music lessons. So the best place to learn music is in church because that's where there's instruments, that's where you have talented people, and that's where you are able to express yourself because your parents ain't paying for a tutor to come to the yard like at least once or twice a week. So yeah, so I'd say it's my parents, is the church that I went to that influenced me and got me into music. What made me start? I've always wanted to be part of a band. I find bands quite cool. So in 2015, that's when I officially came into the Congolese community because I didn't grow up in the Congolese community. And then I started meeting guys who were able to play like 4 to 5 instruments off the top of their head. And I thought, wow, like, at that time I could only play drums and I thought, wow. I need to step up my game. So I started going to different churches, started meeting so many different musicians. And then I just started recruiting, to be honest. And then in 2016, January 2016, I got together. I'll call it like an all-stars team because a lot of the musicians that I got at the time went on to do amazing things. Some became DJs, some became producers, some started their own movements as well. But what got me to start Rarity is because I always wanted to start a band run by young people because at the time there was bands with youths, but it was always run by an elder. But Rarity was like the first youth band that was run by a young person, and it was a vibe and everyone had a good time. And I remember at the time when we started it, we used to have rehearsals every Wednesday and we used to call it Rarity Wednesdays. Those who know. So that's what made me start Rarity. It's just the love for music, first of all, and second of all, like I just felt like us young Congolese people, we need to start a movement for ourselves and express ourselves through our music. Yeah, I'll give shout outs. Shout out to Glody, Gibson, shout out to Shadrach. I've actually knew them prior to Rarity. But obviously they went on, they done their thing. That led on to LLO and stuff like that. You know, you got Jeremy, JRE. He was never actually part of Rarity officially, but he was still in and around. Like, he helped me a lot, especially when it comes to understanding Congolese music, because we went to the same college. So yeah, those are the people that I can shout out, and I can say, yeah, they've gone on to do big things for themselves as well. And yeah, I'm happy for them, man. I grab from everyone and I put it into one, and just, yeah, that's where all my influences come from. I don't stick to just one style of music. As a creative, when it comes to like mainstream music, I'd say Michael Jackson. That's only because he was an artist who had a wide palette. He experimented. He had a song that goes "Mama say, Mama kosa, Mama say, that he got that influence from Sukusu, which obviously originates from Congolese music. Michael Jackson as well. He wasn't afraid to try new things. If you looked at his music videos from the 80s, they were amazing. In the Congolese community, I'd say King Kester. That's only because he came from the choir, he came from the church. And if you listen to a lot of these songs, the way the vocals are arranged, it sounds like a choir. And plus, he experimented as well. So he was one of the first people to bring synth productions into Congolese music. So in the mainstream world, I'd say Michael Jackson. In the Congolese world, I'd say King Kester. And also, I loved King Kester's personality. He was very, you know, confident, and he believed in himself, and, you know, and yeah. Being a leader is fun, but it's very challenging. Only because when you're a leader, you're dealing with so much different personalities, you're dealing with people's egos. So you've got to understand how people work and how people operate. So for example, when I started Rarity, I wasn't just dealing with my own problems, because at that time, within a year of started Rarity, I had a kid. So I was going through dealing with being a parent for the first time and having personal issues. And then obviously, on top of that, you're dealing with a musician. So people just think when you're managing a group of musicians, you're just dealing with the music side of things. But what they don't understand is there's also the personal life as well. So some of the musicians that I was managing, I had to stop them from committing suicide. Some of them were going through issues with their parents. Some of them were going through financial issues. So you're dealing with all these different things, whilst you, as yourself, you're trying to build yourself and deal with your personal life. And I remember in 2017, after having my son, I was gonna just pack it all in and stop the music thing. And I was just gonna put my head down and just grind and work. And I remember having a conversation with my little brother, and he was like, nah, you just gotta keep going, because you already built something. You can't just stop now. But obviously at the time, I was in a dark place because, like I said, I just had a son, and then I was dealing with all these people's problems. I couldn't handle it. And then, but within a year of having that conversation with my brother, I ended up, you know, meeting Awilo, then ended up making Rosalina. I ended up going on the X Factor. So many opportunities came off the back of that conversation. And I feel like if I gave up at that particular moment, then I wouldn't even be sitting here right now. So it's difficult being a leader, because you're dealing with people's emotions and you're dealing with their personal issues as well as yours. And sometimes people can be a bit selfish, because sometimes people can forget that you're going through it as well. They just want you to be the solution to their problems without understanding that you've got your personal stuff on the side as well as your own stuff. So yeah, but it's a good experience. It's challenging and it builds character, and I can't complain. I wouldn't change it for the world. When it comes to like live shows, it doesn't matter if I'm playing in front of 5 people, if I'm playing in front of 500 people, if I'm playing in front of 1,000 people, I still treat it as a big show. I never dismiss it or be like, oh, because there's not a lot of people in the audience today, I'm just gonna I always give them my all. And the way I prepare is that mentally, usually on that day, I try not to stress. I try not to overwork myself. I try not to take a lot of phone calls, because when it's show day, those who know as a leader, like those who are leaders, when it's a show day, your phone's always going off. People are asking you, can you get me into the venue? You're having to deal with making sure instruments get from A to B. So for example, when I never used to drive before, I'd have to go to the studio, pick up the instruments, drop it to the venue, do sound check, go back home, get changed, make sure everyone's on time, get back to the venue. So by the time I'm on stage, I'm already drained out. After the show, I have to take the instruments, take it back to my mum's house, and then on the next morning, get a cab from my mum's house back to the studio, drop all the instruments. So it can be stressful. Do you know what I mean? But as I've gotten older, I've just learned to just not take things too personal. I tend to be relaxed. 5 to 10 minutes before I go on stage, I tend to meditate. I like feeling nervous because I feel like when I feel nervous, it shows that it's going to be a good show. It tells me that it's going to be a good show. And when I get on stage, before I pick up my guitar, I just look at the crowd and observe the audience for about 30 seconds to a minute so I can get a feel of how the vibe's going to be. I just make sure, because performing is a team sport, so I've got to make sure that as the man, we're all in the same mindset. And when the drummer just hits the sticks, 1, 2, 3, 4, the rest is a blast, man. The rest is a movie. Performing is the best thing ever. Like, the high you get from being on stage, you can't get it from nowhere else, because that energy that the people give you and the energy that you're receiving and the energy that you're giving is like you're in communication with the audience. So it's like having a superpower, because right now, I ain't got my guitar on me. I'm just a normal fella. But when I'm on stage and I have my guitar on me, it's like when Superman puts his cape on. It's like I'm here to make people feel good. And when you're seeing people have a good time, people dancing, people vibe, it's an amazing feeling. Like, and it could be very addictive. It could be very, very addictive. Like, being on stage is one of the best things ever, man. I can't put it into words. If I wasn't a musician, I would have been a philosopher, because I love understanding how the world works. I love reading. I question a lot of things. I'm very curious. I wouldn't be as outgoing as I am. I'll most probably be trying to figure out the world's problems and why the world is the way it is. Outside of music, I study all different types of religions. I read a lot of books. I study the human behavior. I study people. I just like to understand why we are the way we are as humans. I find that so fascinating. So the majority of my time is spent just on YouTube, just watching like conspiracy theories or or like watching like Law and Order. So I feel like if I wasn't a musician, I would have most probably went down the philosophy path, and I most probably would have been like a monk or something, living in the mountains, trying to find out the world's problems. I think within the next 5 years, where I see the brand is, I see it being like global. I really want to tap into different markets. I've spent 8 years, so I started Rarity in 2016. I've spent 8 years in the UK building the community, building the scene. When I say the community, I mean the Congolese community. Whether it's directly or indirectly, I've always been involved with events. I've always worked with the best DJs, promoters. I've always done my part, but I feel like now just expanding. So maybe going to like Europe, tapping into France, or maybe going into Africa and taking what I'm doing here, there. Because like I said, I'm not here to teach my musicians how to play music. Every musician that's worked with me, I've never taught them how to play the guitar or how to play the drums. All I do is I have an eye for talent. I can see that you're good at something. I'll provide you with the tools, the confidence, and the self-belief to take it to another level. So I want to take this thing that I've started here in the UK all around the world. So whether that be the Francophone countries, whether that be in Congo, whether that be in South America, Colombia, because Rosalina made me realize that there's a huge demand for Congolese music in South America. So it's just building and just giving people more opportunities. I feel like I came into this world to empower people and inspire people to become their best version of themselves. That's literally what I feel like I came in this world to do. I think my most memorable song on bass is the first song that I ever learned how to play, actually, is Fegola San Kilos. Only because when I first discovered the track, Ferry was part of Kachalate. He performed it live at a concert. And I remember my older brother was banging it out in the house. And then the bass line was so groovy and catchy. I remember telling myself, the day that I learn how to play bass, I have to learn how to play the song. Yeah. So here it goes. La moto na ngove, saloko zombie.
Nasangi mayele yako sepelisa yote. Nalamukia patungwita na nakotisa.
Yeah, police. So this is my favorite partition because it's played by the greatest Benico Popolipo, one of the greatest guitarists to come out of Congo. Used to play for Zaiko. He played for Kachala there. This partition is a classic. Any Congolese party you go to, if you just hear that, you know the dance floor is about to go off. So that's why it's one of my favorite Kachala there partitions. There's so many, but this is what you call timeless music because you can hear this in the next 20 to 30 years and it's still gonna wanna make you dance. This is why Kofi had to do a rendition of this partition. This partition came out in the 90s, yeah? But in the late 2000s, Kofi had to go back to the studio and redo this part because it goes off all the time. So this is why this is my favorite partition of Kachala there and I had to do the honors and play it for you guys. Genuinely, as a person, I'm very calm, I'm very chilled. But when I'm on stage, it's like another entity, another spirit enters me. So when you're watching my videos and you're seeing me bounce and scream and go, oh, where? That's me in rockstar mode, that's me in Mr. Rarity mode. So we're clearly two different people because you can spend time with me and chill with me and I won't even say a word. But when I touch that guitar or when I hit that stage, I'm telling you, it's another vibe.